Hi, I'm Cheryl and welcome to my sewing room. This is a continuation of the Novice Beginners Sampler Quilt 2019. You have just 2 steps left to complete your quilt, and that is to do your sewing machine quilting or take it to a long arm quilter and do the quilt binding. Now here is the Novice Beginners Sampler Quilt. This one is all completed. I decided to take it to a long arm quilter. So Manny and I took it to the Sewing and Quilting Center of Southern Utah in St. George, and in a moment we're going to take you on a tour of what our experience was like in that store. But I'm going to quickly jump to the quilt binding. In about 2 days I will release the video on how to go about putting on your quilt binding. Putting quilt binding on a potholder, placemat, table runner is really pretty easy. It's not very difficult at all. But when you're putting your binding on a large quilt, it can be very tiring. So I'm going to show you the process that I go through to make that step easier for you. So here's Manny and I on a tour through the Sewing and Quilting Center of St. George, Utah. Hi, I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Manny.
And we're here at the Sewing and Quilting Center of Southern Utah in St. George. And we're here because my Novice Beginner Sampler Quilt is ready for machine quilting. I've decided to go and have long arm quilting done, and that's why I'm here. Hopefully your sampler quilt is ready for the quilting stitches. You've got the fabric on the back, cotton batting, everything's lined up, ready to go. But if you need instructions, if you're going to do your own machine quilting, then click on the link in the upper right hand corner. It'll take you to a video that's very detailed on how to do your own. But if you've been thinking about long arm quilting, we're going to take a walk over to the long arm machine and watch mine having the long arm stitches done. All right, we're at the long arm machine, and this is Theresa, the owner of the store, and her daughter-in-law, Ashlyn. Now, Theresa, how long have you been doing long arm quilting?
About 8 years.
About 8 years. And how long has your store been here?
The store's been here for over 10 years. But I purchased the store in September of this year.
Yes, once I discovered this place, I was in love with it. Now she's going to go over a few things on the long arm machine. We'll show you the pattern, and we'll kind of do a real quick summary of some of the steps that they have to go through to do the long arm quilting. Okay, Ashlyn is now doing the basting process, and this takes a few minutes to do that. As you can see, she's just kind of roaming along there. Ashlyn is now lining up the edge of the quilt with the basting stitches and pinning it down. And now Theresa is stitching the edge of the quilt down. And now they're rolling the quilt out and straightening everything out. Theresa informed me that they have over 1,000 designs that you can select from. See, this is a blow up of what it is. Now I love flowers, and this has a lot of flowers in it. All in all, it took about 20 minutes to load the quilt into the machine, and it's going to take about 3 hours to do all of the stitching. Now here is a close-up of the stitches, and you can see it's very detailed. If you tried to do this on your sewing machine, it would take you much longer than 3 hours. I get asked this question all the time. What kind of machine should I purchase to get started on quilting? And Theresa is going to talk about the Jazz 2 by Baby Lock.
So this is a great little machine to get into. It's very affordable, and what's nice about it is that you have a complete big area. You have lots of stadium lighting, and you can piece with this machine and do free motion quilting and get a ruler foot so that you can do ruler work on a domestic machine.
Well, thank you, Theresa. This is a long arm machine. If you're thinking about learning long arm quilting, you want one in your own home, this is a great one to start with. It's called the HQ Simply 16. And if I had room for it, I would buy it. It's one of the more reasonably priced long arm machines, but unfortunately I don't have the room for it, but maybe you do. You see this gorgeous craft table? Well, I bought one just like it, and I love it. I don't know if you guys realized, but in some of my videos in the past, you might have seen what you thought the camera was jiggling. Well, it was actually my sewing table. It was this rickety thing, and I finally broke down and said, I'm gonna go for the big one, and this thing is wonderful. It's got all of these drawers here. Look at this. And this big storage compartment, and I can't get it open right now, but we're going to go to the back, which is where my favorite part is. So let's go over there. When I'm doing my videos, this is the side of the table that I stand on, and the reason why is, look at this. All of my tools, everything I need is right in there. I don't have to run around my sewing room looking for things, wondering where I put it. These are roll-out drawers. You can pull them completely out and set it on top of your table. I absolutely love this table. I feel like I'm in heaven when I'm standing next to this table. So if you're thinking about getting a new sewing table, consider this. Now, it's really big, so you got to have a lot of room for this, but I love this table. Let's go over and take a look at another table I purchased. I get a lot of questions on sewing machine tables, and I needed another sewing machine table. I have a lot of sewing machines, but I needed one that was small, and I bought this one. I actually can put 2 of my machines on it. A little crowded, but it's a nice table. One of the best features that this table has is it's incredibly sturdy. It doesn't jiggle at all, and it's got lots of storage. It's got a pocket here and there, and 2 pockets at each end on the outside, so you can put all of the user manuals and whatever else you need for your machine in these pockets. Patterns, whatever you have, rulers, cutting implements. I really like this table, and it doesn't take up a lot of room, and it fit perfectly in my space. If you're in the market for a sewing chair, this one is adorable. So I'm going to show it to you, and it's cute, buttons all over it. I love this fabric, but look at this. It has a storage compartment. So if you're short on space, consider getting a chair like this. The moment I saw this fabric, I fell in love, and I bought some of it. One of these days I hope to get time to put a quilt together out of this. But this is Quilting Treasures. It's a Dan Morris design, and I just love it. They not only have long arm quilting services here, but this is a really large store. They have Ken the repair guy, and they have lots of thread that just goes on and on and on and on and on and on. If you can't find your thread here, they just don't make it. If you're thinking about taking a sewing class, this is a great place to get started. They have this very large classroom where you can take all kinds of quilting classes. Do you all remember that baby quilt that I made where I showed you how to put a border on a quilt? Well, it had long arm quilting stitches done on it too, and it came out just beautiful. Let's take a close-up look of the stitches. Well, I don't know how well you can see the stitches, but it has a lot of little fish on it, seashells, and it turned out just adorable. Well, here is the Novice Beginners Sampler Quilt, It just finished getting the machine quilting done, and it looks gorgeous. Here is a close-up of some of the quilting stitches on this, so you can see those large flowers that are in there. I just love how these stitches came out. I think it adds a lot to the quilt. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, would you click on thumbs up? And also don't forget to click on share, that curved arrow, so you can share this video with your friends. And if you haven't subscribed yet, click on that red button down there in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. Don't forget to enter your email address and click on the little bell so you receive future email notifications about my latest video. I'm Cheryl, and this is Manny. See you next time, and happy sewing!